I'm Jeremy Taylor, the Brit on the radio in your lug holes. Let me gently introduce, in an amusing application of elusive alliteration, used with the point in pungent perspicacity, thrilling threnody of rapturous rippling rumbustiousness, our panel for tonight, Wednesday night undressed. The indefatigable, the indomitable, the irrefutable Kathleen Taylor.
Hello.
A man who was once thought lost to legend and recently resurrected, Jason Springer now.
JT, what's good?
Oh, huzzah. That marvel of female bohemian sophistication, Jane Carter.
Hello.
Oh, God. What a letdown. Could you do something, you know?
That was lively.
Yeah. The Transylvanian Dark Lord of Literature and Pheromones, Ivo Ivanov, and the most interesting man in the world's smarter brother, the magic Dr. Orlando.
Yo.
And guesting on the panel tonight, Troy. Just Troy. Just
Hello.
Troy. You gave a bit of thought to that, didn't you? Just Troy. Troy.
I try not to think too much.
Okay. All right. Well, without
It's work.
further ado,
It hurts.
let's start with the first question. The panel have all been given. Dr. Orlando's gone. Come back. It's all right. It's perfectly in order to eat. Dr. Orlando, ladies and gentlemen, has got a phenomenal new microphone on a piece of metal that he has been erected on our thing here. Greatest spy movie of all time and why? The greatest. So, Dr. Orlando, let's start with you.
Are you just starting with me because my mouth is full?
Of
Yes.
course he is.
Yes.
Have you not met our host?
Now, remember that I didn't ask what was the greatest spy agent. I asked what was the greatest spy movie of all
Jesus.
time. Okay, so I like to be specific, girls and boys. Yes, greatest spy movie of all time.
With Goldfinger, because it really kind of set the set the paradigm. Like I don't really know that we had a spy movie before we had Goldfinger, did we?
He wasn't that much of a spy. I mean, as to actual spying, what happened?
I don't know. Do you expect him to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
mean,
very
he was
much.
immediately rumbled. So what the...
And talking of Goldfinger, right, have you got your computer with you?
Of course.
Right. In a minute, what I'd like you to do is to look up Goldfinger and Trump. Images.
Mm-hmm.
Go images, Trump and Goldfinger.
All right,
I want
can
you
do
to
that.
do that. Okay. Let's let's ask Troy. What do you think greatest spy movie of all time?
I'm going to go with Goldmember.
Golden Member.
Goldmember.
No, not golden.
Austin
member,
Powers.
Goldmember.
Goldmember. Mike Myers was fantastic in that. There was also, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I
Right.
think you're familiar with that term,
Yes,
sir.
the Spy Who Shagged Me.
But it's
That
got to be
particularly lovely lady.
Goldmember.
What was that lovely lady in it?
Which one?
The actress.
Heather Graham.
Heather Graham,
Heather Graham, yes.
Elizabeth Hurley was
Elizabeth
in the first
Hurley.
one.
Isn't she lovely? She is lovely.
Beyonce was in Goldmember,
Yes, she was.
and she was quite wonderful.
Yes, she was.
But I got to say Goldmember,
Goldmember.
because
Okay.
I talk about his Goldmember a lot.
Kathleen.
Well, I was thinking From Russia with Love was a better spy movie of the Bond series, but I kind of like the John le Carre stuff. I can't.
Ah.
Yeah.
Tinker Tailor.
Yeah. But I'm
George
not sure whether
Smiley.
I'm thinking of just the series or the movie. Okay.
I mean, it is,
Pictures of
we
Trump
now have
and
picture
Goldfinger.
Of Trump and Goldfinger.
They're identical.
They are.
Could
It's,
definitely be
it's
both.
actually
Very
spooky,
creepy.
isn't it?
Yeah, a little
Isn't that
creepy.
spooky?
Goldfinger needs a few hair implants, and there he is.
No, it's
That's
interesting-
the uncle nobody wants you to go around.
Yeah.
It's interesting you should say that because
Which one?
Tinker Tailor and George Smiley was based on real life rather like the imitation
Yeah,
game.
it's true spy stuff.
But it's interesting you say Russia with Love. That's that cool. Let's go down to Jason.
I'm going to go along the same vein as Troy because most spy movies have since, because all the Bond movies are kind of the same, or at least are getting to that point. A lot of the other
Can
spy
I just
movies.
ask you before you say, was your first reaction a Bond movie?
No, actually, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Okay.
The first movie I thought it was is actually Spies Like Us. That because
right, okay.
because seeing a spy movie in a comedy genre, that was the first time I had ever seen that. And seeing Aykroyd and Chevy Chase when he was still funny and on cocaine, that was a really good movie. It's just I can watch that again and again.
North by Northwest was also technically a spy movie.
Right.
It wasn't a spy, but there were spies in it. It was a spy movie. That's the one where they end up climbing up the face of Mount Rushmore, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, and see things like that. I like movies where you don't know it's a spy movie, and then all of a sudden, near the end, it's revealed that a character is a spy for the other side. Those kind of spy movies, I like those. But when it's just, okay, here's Bond, and here's what he's going to do as the spy. It's like, okay, we get it.
We'll come to Jane in a moment. Evo, greatest spy movie of all time. What's the first thing that comes to your head?
I've always liked the 3 Days of the Condor. Have you seen this movie?
I have
from
seen
the
that movie.
70s?
Yes.
That is a good movie.
You like
actually.
that?
Yes, where he
It
goes
was-
out for sandwiches and everybody's
And everybody's
murdered.
dead.
Right,
Comes
right.
back and-
Robert Redford.
Yes, Robert Redford was Sidney Pollack,
Yes.
was the director. It was incredible because you didn't know what the heck was happening.
Right.
And that's, I have to agree with Jason here that I like movies that surprise you by skipping on the cliches. I hate, for some reason, screenwriters have figured out that we are attracted to certain scenarios. For example, the latent identity. Where, Gina Davis is now a school teacher and she had amnesia. Oh, I hate the amnesia twist. There's always spy movies where they had amnesia and then something triggers their hidden identity, their spy identity, along with, of course, a deadly set of martial art skills, and they just suddenly become, and it usually gets triggered by a song on the phone, being played on the phone by some sinister,
just something
or,
weird.
or Max von Sydow's voice saying something sinister,
You're objecting to something unrealistic in a movie?
Well, yeah, of course. But
That
anyway,
never happened.
and
That-
Three Days of the Condor
that was
is
brilliant,
unexpected. North by Northwest was like this as well. And it was a spy movie because I felt like everything is against him. And he had nowhere to go, and you didn't know what the heck was going on. What is a spy movie? Is it when the protagonist is kind of infiltrating the enemy hive? Is that a spy movie? I mean, what qualifies as a spy movie?
Well,
when you have
it's interesting because you see, I specifically said spy because I was thinking about old movies, and I was wondering about 39 Steps, John Buchan, things like that. You see, and going
Forgot
back a
about
long
that.
way back. But
The
then
Day of
I
the
kept,
Jackal.
you see, and that's you've got to actually start thinking about. And then there's the ones Michael Caine was in in the 60s, which were about spies rather than secret agents. Yes, Jane.
Good one.
Jane, what do you think?
Well, I have no doubt I'm going to be made fun of for this, but I really liked the very first one I really got latched onto was The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, that's a great one. Is it a spy movie? I don't know. Maybe.
Yes and no.
Actually, no, there is because the cook's a spy.
Yep, there's a lot of
He's the one who
intrigue.
tries to,
Yeah, because Sean Connery's defecting and he's got
That's
the
true.
secrets and going to
Yes.
sell him to the U.S. for asylum.
Yes.
Then the cook is the spy and you don't know who to trust. I don't know. I really like that one, but I'm not really big into the spy genre, so.
Great contribution to the conversation. Did Louis already go?
I went first.
What'd you say?
I said Goldfinger.
Oh, you
'Cause-
like the James Bond movies?
Well, no, I think I didn't understand the question as what is my favorite.
Yeah.
I understood the question as what is the best, and I took the position that was what is essentially what defines the spy genre.
Yeah.
And when you talk about cliches, you're talking about all the things that they've made fun of that showed up originally in the Bond movies.
Oh.
So that
Like-
was the tack that I took.
Man, well, that's
But
another topic.
but that I think for me they were black and white 1960s and the
Every black and white movie is a spy movie. Don't you feel that way?
they were about spies.
That's why Spy vs. Spy is black
So
and white
I
in Mad
wanna-
Magazine.
well, that was actually really interesting.
So, what about spy movies that prove to be prophetic in 2017, like The Manchurian Candidate?
I think that's just being picky. It's not the sort of thing we want to talk about here. So presuppose that you want to, okay? Presuppose that you want to. So why do you want to live until you're 100?
Oh.
Why do you want to live to 100?
I want to.
Can I start by just saying I hate these kind of questions? Like, we can either...
Just because you've got a massive erection on the desk table with your microphone.
We can either want to
Now, what
live
kind of
till we're
podcast
100,
is this?
or we can not want to live till we're 100. But we can't pretend that we want to live that we're 100 and then justify something that we
Oh, I can.
never wanted to
No,
do.
well, what if I want to
I
live
want to live
past
to
100?
100 so that I can fly in a just find the time when flying cars are common and everybody's getting out in the garage and zoom into the air.
Yeah. Zoom. But first of all, Massive Erection is a great name for a rock band.
Yeah.
I want to point that out.
And for a firm of architects.
Yeah, we had this conversation. Kind of at the radio show with Jeremy, because we had this fascinating guy that I couldn't determine what age he was. He was an architecture professor and a Renaissance man that you had invited, and you know him. And that professor I couldn't tell how old he was. He might have been 80, he might have been 60, I don't know. But he has become a scholar on aging. And his mother is 100 years old, and with it, and he is studying the so-called blue zones. And the blue zones are the areas in the world where a lot of people live to be 100, and not just live to be 100, but live functionally. They're not just trapped in a shell. So, and those blue zones, interestingly enough, involve mountains, which we don't have, and islands, which we don't have here. But he had some very interesting insights, and I think why? You ask why and not how.
Why would you?
Well, first of all...
why would Evo like to be 100?
Well, because there's so many things that I still need to do. There's not enough in a lifetime to do all the things that I want to do. First of all, there's so many things to learn. I mean, I'm fascinated by so many things, and I realize there's just not enough time. I want to learn more about nuclear physics. I want to learn more about the universe. I want to, experience more things, travel in every part of the world, and there's just not enough time. So as we moving towards an age where we can extend life, and we're finding more and more about life limits. I realize that really 100 or 115 as it is right now is not really the limit of cellular life. We don't know. We really don't know. We might be able to live
When you
200
say
years.
we don't know, are you just sort of discounting the whole telomere thing?
The telomeres, so for the listeners who don't know, the telomere is a somewhat recent discovery. As science realized that at the end of each chromosome, there's two caps, like caps. They call them the telomeres. And the shorter those telomeres got,
The less you live.
the less you live. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at ways, and they believe that there's ways to actually make those telomeres grow back and become longer. And part of it has to do with oxidation. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of ironic that the very oxygen that gives us life, and I brought that up at the radio show, is the reason we die on a cellular level because of oxidation. And that's why antioxidants are so important. But also science has discovered that there's a way to replace those rogue cells that reduce our lifespan, and there's a way to remove those now. Also, part of the reason we die is our internal organs, as they grow older on cellular level, they have reduced functionality. And now there's probably going to be very soon ways to replace those organs, but synthetically.
Okay, but they're synthetic. So,
yeah.
But naturally, we have an end of our lifetime, right?
But we don't know how long, because like in the 1900s, when people would tell them, when people would think that 100 years is preposterous,
Right.
And nobody lives to be 100, and life expectancy was 47, and now we see so many 100 years old, and there's people at 110 and so so on. So why? I want to live to be 200, but only if I'm capable of participating in the world surrounding me. I don't want to live in a shell, be trapped or
I thought you wanted to live so you could learn.
You know what?
That's what you said.
Yes.
You've got nuclear physics and things you want to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be, at least to have my mind capable. If I'm 150, I don't want to be just, a vegetable. You know what Woody Allen said? I love the Woody Allen quote when they told him, you're going to live forever in your work. And he said, through your work. And he said, I don't want to live forever in my works. I want to live forever in my apartment. It's like,
Jane,
I want to live.
Why would you want to live to 100?
To look forward to the day where I would be completely lost from everybody else because nobody had lived as long as I had, and all I could do is sit around and say, just wait, it's hell to get old. It's hell to get old. I just want to reach that point where nobody could associate with me anymore.
That's interesting and kind of dark.
Okay, I think
Dark
that's
Troy.
no. Yeah.
I highly doubt that I will, and I don't know that I want to, but if I did live to 100, it's so I could flip off science. It's like I'm short, I'm fat, I eat like shit, I really like booze, I don't get a bunch of sleep. I mean, so I'm pretty much a walking billboard for what not to do in life. Mm-hmm. So if I make it to 100, that's a huge.
Your relatives.
They're at my house in my drawer.
Okay, but I mean, how long do they live?
The jeans? Well, it depends on how many holes I get in them. Jeans aren't good.
No.
Jason.
I want to live to 100 because I just want to see what we do as a species. I want to watch us evolve. Because if I think about it, I was born in 1975, and where we were as a species in 1875 compared to 1975 is just drastic. And
Dude,
where we will be
1975 to now.
Yeah, exactly. And where we'll be in 2075, I would love to live and see just that entire evolution of what we do as a social animal. And hell, I'm kind of curious to see if we're actually still alive.
They have recently discovered, I'll come to Kathleen in a second, that crocodiles and alligators die because they catch something, they get a disease or something, or because another predator kills them. They have realized that crocodiles and alligators don't die of old age, and they are researching that.
Really?
It's really interesting, Kathleen.
Well, I've already answered. Mine's the flying cars, but I wanted to know about you. You asked this question, you must have an answer.
Yeah, what would you do?
Me?
Yeah. Living to 100. Why do you want to live to 100?
I don't know, I just asked the questions.
Well, now you have to answer your own damn question.
I'd like to live to 100 because I want to see how it works out.
So, kind of the same.
Much the same as you guys.
Yeah.
I'd love to see my, hopefully, grandchildren grow up and be successful. I've tried to do things with my boys because my parents fucked my life up. So I'm trying to not be my parents. I don't do a very good job of it, but that's what I try to do. Other people try to be their parents because, but I'm trying not, and so I want to see how it pans out. I worry about having enough money and all that sort of thing. Will I have to have someone drive the Bentley and all that sort of jazz? But the bottom line is, I just want to see.
Will I have to have someone drive
I want to see how it works out. Dr. Orlando.
So apparently I'm the only one here that's just really vain and likes myself, that I just want to be around for as long as I possibly can. So that'd be my reason. I'm just curious, though, is there anybody here that I've had friends that absolutely do not want to live till they're 100? Is there anybody on the panel that doesn't want to live till they're 100?
I wouldn't want to.
Me neither.
I think I'll be lost in the head.
Why not?
Genetics mainly. I watched.
So it's like the health, and that makes perfect sense. I had
as the women on the panel here, we are probably the most likely of this whole group to live to 100. I don't think it's a pleasant prospect, not yet.
No, and that was I'm thinking of one friend in particular who was really, really anti living that long. He thought that it was painful, unpleasant, a burden on the family. He just didn't want to have anything to do with it. And
How old was he when he said that?
he was 36.
So what I've discovered by reading about this stuff in the past is that people's perspective changes every 10 years or so.
Right.
And you're 40 and you're thinking, oh God, I don't want to be 50. I'm going to suck it. Then you're 50 and you think, hey, there's a lot of fun things to do. And then you're 60. People in their 60s and 70s really, really, really enjoy life and find a lot of pleasant and fun things to do.
That's because they don't have to go to work anymore.
But I hate the phrase. I hate the phrase that
I would have a lot of fun
saying, "I'm blessed to." However, I've been very lucky to be able to do radio and interview hundreds and if not thousands of different people. And some of the older folk that I've interviewed, people in their mid to late 80s and early 90s, have had fascinating stories. And Eric, our producer down there, I know, same thing. We get to talk to fascinating people. And I think of interviews that we've done where I remember one in particular of an old boy who shall remain nameless, who I think he'd made it to sergeant, but he'd been in the war. And he was recounting this story to me on Veterans Day.
No.
The other person sitting there who I had just interviewed was a ranking full-time general serving, and they were about to be sent off to Iraq or Afghanistan or something like that. This guy's responsible for thousands of soldiers, men and women, and he sat there captivated by this old boy talking about clearing out a French village.
Oh, of course.
And
I mean, you're talking about World War II, for God's sakes. I mean, the greatest war.
But what I'm trying to get at, you get to meet these people, and then 90-something years old. Our friend Buck, who was, I think he was 95 when he finally passed. He'd flown airships.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And so I think that's one of the things. If you're still well, this saying that we have in England of waking up dead is a good thing.
If you're still well, that's the key. If my mind still has all of its faculties, then I'm okay with going
very quickly, Dr. Orlando.
Well, it's not going to be quick because I'm going to hijack the whole podcast here for just a second.
Love you.
Yeah, this has got nothing to do with any of the topics or anything like that. I just realized that my buddy Evo has a fidget cube on his key ring.
What is that?
I don't know. It's yours.
It's
I just took it off your keys.
It's my wife's.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I had no idea what the heck that is.
I think
man.
actually it's a small safe which you keep your condom in.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
I think I just learned way too much about Jeremy.
Yeah. Here you go. Let's go on to the next one here on Wednesday Night Undressed. Gee, thanks for not remembering me. What friends have you left behind back in the mists of time that you'd like to reconnect with? When you were 20, you had some friend who drove a such and such, and for the life of you can't remember what that person's name was. Or a girlfriend you dated and you were absolutely, definitely in love with, and you have no idea what her name was, or boyfriend, come to that. Who have you left behind that you would actually like to reconnect with, rather than... You'd want to go and hide in the lavatory if they walked in. Oh, Dr. Orlando's waving again. Go on, we better go to him.
I think this question was a lot more significant 10 years ago before the ubiquity of social media, because most of the folks that I want to catch up with, I'm now catching up with. There's, maybe 5 or 6 people from my past that don't have a social media presence that I can't find. But outside of that, at this point, I'm assuming that if I haven't seen you on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, it's probably because you're dead.
Or Jane.
What about
Jason.
Jane? Jane?
Jane doesn't social media.
Yeah,
Jane
I don't
doesn't
either.
I hate it.
Right.
I don't know how to put it in a nice way, honestly. I like my privacy. I don't care what you're doing, and if I did, I would keep track of you in some other way. I don't want you to know what I'm doing either. See, I told you there's no nice way to put this. I'm a private person, and I don't give a shit.
You're saying exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
That's because it's all
but
true.
I do have a person, since I'm already here. His name is Rob. Everybody called him Noodle Don't ask
Noodle.
me why.
Shout out to Noodle.
Right,
Hopefully
Noodle.
you're listening.
Okay,
but-
so if Noodle's listening,
I met him when I was about 26-ish. I guess I was living
3
in
years ago.
Colorado Springs. Noodle was a really hilarious character. The really quick story that I'll
Sounds
tell
like
about
it.
him. We were at the bars, just like always, and he was giving me a ride home. And we pull up next to this really big truck, decked out. This guy it was huge.
I think I just figured out why they called him
Ridiculous.
Noodle.
And he had Broncos fan stuff all over the place. And he goes, hey, do me a favor. Dig in the back really quick, please. Find a red hand. He had in the back seat, he had like sports stuff in the back of all teams. And then up top on his dashboard, he had little strips, colored strips. So he took 2 red strips, licked them, put them under his eyes, grabbed something else under, and he had like Kansas City Chiefs. And then he had a "fuck you, Kansas City Chief" hand, which is what I grabbed. And he rolled down the window and he goes, "Fuck Denver Broncos!" And this guy was just pissed. And he, as soon as the green light, he turns right instead of going straight because this guy was revving his truck. I was like, "Christ, Noodle, we're gonna die! What are you doing?" And then as soon as we turn the corner, he just takes it off and throws it in the back. Peels the strips off of his cheeks and puts them back up, and he goes,
I know where Noodle
and he
is.
goes, "Fucking douchebag."
I know where Noodle is. He's dead and buried in Denver Broncos country.
He may very well be.
He's gone.
But, he did stuff
Goodbye,
like that
Noodles.
all the time just to mess with these crazy sports
prepared
guys.
for it. That's what kills me.
Yeah. And he had everything. in the
Troy. Troy, who would you like to reconnect with?
I pretty much have been able to connect with people I want to. I'm sure there's some folks out there, but
Is there nobody that you lie in bed feeling guilty about?
you obviously don't know me very well. No, not at all, to be honest with you. Nah. I talk to people I want to talk with. I know what they're up to.
I think that's just the way it is.
I
Overall.
mean,
Yeah.
Kathleen,
I
is
don't-
there anybody that you'd like to reconnect with?
Maybe catch up with where the Russian club is now. Believe it or not, I studied Russian in middle school and high school, and the kids who did that formed a fairly tight group, and I've lost track of them. I'd like to see where they are.
Dr. Orlando.
My best friend from elementary school, a guy by the name of Andre Spencer. He is the one person that I know of that I have not been able to locate on social media. If I could contact him, that would be important to me because I spent every minute that I wasn't at home as a kid, especially like between 3rd and 6th grade, with my buddy Andre. And it's sad that I literally have no idea where he is, alive or dead. No,
Wow.
well, see, that's the thing. After elementary school, I changed schools, and so our friends, our common friends, went down to 0. So I only was able to keep up with him sporadically, even during school, during the rest of my school, public school career. So
Google search doesn't return anything.
well,
a pretty
Andre
common
Spencer's,
name.
yeah,
it's
like,
very common name.
Eva, you've
Yield
moved
thousands.
countries, continents.
Yes, and I have a fascinating story, and it has a little bit to do with Kath's story and a little bit to do with Lewis. So in high school, I'm behind the Iron Curtain, and we get an American kid in my class in school. And the way school is in Bulgaria, you have 25 kids in the same class, and you're always together. You move together from classroom to classroom.
Right. Yeah.
There's no, the same 25 kids go from math to science to chemistry to geography. So we were always, it was like a family. So this kid comes in, he doesn't speak Bulgarian, and the reason he was in there was his father was the second after the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador in the country. He's working in the embassy, and he's a very high-ranking officer in the embassy. And he decided that his kid, he's going to send him to our school to learn Russian, because we were Russian. We spoke Russian in this school. Our teachers were Russian, and so he comes in to learn Russian because he figured it's going to be advantageous for him. So his name was Robert Anderson, and we became like brothers. We became inseparable with this kid. He played basketball, I played basketball on the team. We went everywhere together. I mean, it was just like brotherhood. And he spoke broken Russian, I spoke rock music English, and we somehow got figured it out and became great friends for 2 years. Then his father's mandate expired at the embassy, and he moved back to the States, and we kept connected, for the next several years. So I'm 24, and I'm coming to study in the United States, and I lived with him and his 3 roommates in Greenwich, Connecticut. He had just graduated from Cornell and was working on Wall Street, and so were his friends. And he helped me immensely get acclimated, and I stayed for 6 months in their house in Greenwich, Connecticut, and New York City, and so on. And our friendship got even stronger. Then I moved here, and we lost connection. And I completely lost him for many, many years and I've been looking for him. Robert Anderson, obviously that name, millions Robert Andersons. So Google doesn't return anything. He's not on Facebook. I looked everywhere, not on Twitter, nowhere. And finally, I remember that his second name, his given name was Whitney. And I searched for Whitney Anderson, and LinkedIn, of all things, the only time in my life that LinkedIn proved to be valuable for anything was when it actually located him, and he had the same stupid face and red hair, and only he was like 50 years old. And I located him, and I found out that was just 6 months ago that he has his own incredibly successful internet security company, and he's working with giant corporations, lives in New York. We reconnected. He's going to come and visit me. So
excellent.
Hey,
yeah,
excellent.
good story.
Did you happen to say to him, Mr. Anderson?
That's all I kept hearing. It's like, isn't that the name?
I would say for me, it would be people in Thailand when I was in the Peace Corps, because there are some people in Thailand who I'd met and befriended that they live in a certain level of poverty that they don't have access to computers. And yeah, you have internet cafes or internet shops, but they don't really have the money even to spend on that. And so I wonder, or they were old enough that they really don't care, kind of going back to what Lew mentioned earlier about how everybody's on social media. There's a certain generation that they just don't care about social media. And so for some of these older...
Maybe they're on ladyboys.com.
I don't think so. I hope not. That's awkward. But yeah, I'd say some people in Thailand. I kind of wonder, like, what happened to them, and I wonder, is so-and-so dead? Are they still alive? And, how's this kid when they were 10, now they'd be 30, Yeah.
Right.
Hold on just a second. Tom, what a long table you have.
What a long table you've got, Tom.
Oh, Thomas.
Okay, let's
I'm
move
hoping
on.
that didn't come in on the mic.
Let us move on.
I'm sure it did.
Let us move on. Now then, what topics for each of you would be taboo, absolutely taboo, for discussion on this podcast, and why? And just declare we probably won't discuss those very topics, but I just was interested to know what would be absolutely taboo for discussion on this podcast. Going to start with Kathleen.
Sex positions.
What? That's a great topic.
No,
For me to poop.
Not going to do it. Not going to do it.
What?
Once,
Names of rock bands.
Do you mean favorite?
That's not happening.
Do you mean talking about sex on the podcast, or do you mean just particular positions that you like or don't like?
Yes.
All of
Yes
that.
and yes.
Yes. Okay, so Troy, what would be taboo for you? And it's supposed to be a serious question.
This is very serious. It's the debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm sorry. That thing has.
Yeah.
It's worn out.
Yes.
It's
I like
that
that.
ship sailed long
ago.
And some
It's
particular individuals who might possibly frequent this place need to go ahead and let that ship sail too. It literally is a blessed fight, not a physical altercation, but
How about sexual positions between LeBron James and Michael Jordan?
No, I don't need that one. I really would now.
Dr. Orlando.
LeVar Ball wants a piece of that
Oh
action.
God, yes.
No,
yes.
Dr. Orlando.
my thought was going to be basically echoing yours, Kath, that that as far as the podcast goes, I wouldn't want to talk about something like my wife's private parts. I wouldn't want to describe it. I am curious to know why it is that way for you. Like, so the
My
question.
son sometimes
So your
listens to
son,
this
is it
podcast.
just your sons? Like, if your sons weren't a factor, would you then be okay with talking about this kind of stuff?
Oh,
My sons
not
don't give a
really.
stuff. Her son, on the other hand.
It's that's a little too private. A little too private.
No, that's what I was. That is the important thing for me. Like, we going back to the whole social media world.
Yeah.
We kind of live in this world now where people just tell all of their business all the time, and it's self-promotion, self-aggrandizement, however you want to
That's
describe
really
it.
where I was going. I wanted to know what, if I'm sitting here and someone starts talking about something, I'm thinking to myself, on the radio, I know. I just know. But podcasting is new, if you will,
Right.
and I don't know. I can look at Eric, my producer, and we both just know what's not appropriate. Evo, you do a lot of broadcasting, TV, radio.
You're going to say you do a lot of stuff that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true as well.
What do you think is not appropriate?
Well, Voldemort. We can't talk about Voldemort.
No, can't talk about
You already
Voldemort.
said the name, dude.
He who cannot
darn.
be named.
Just take the whole Harry Potter off the list.
Oh God, we
Please?
already talked about him. Yeah. No. You know what? Probably the one thing that I wouldn't want to talk about is Justin fucking Bieber. I don't want to ever talk about Justin Bieber.
Amen.
I did not know his middle name
Thank
till
you.
now.
Yes, yes. Do a Google search.
What about pussy zits on your bum?
Oh yeah. Any kind of squeezable.
What if not Bieber's
people
bum?
and blackheads, those things. No. Yeah, that's a big turn off. I can't
got
stand that.
a slight twist on the question.
Oh.
Like, Kath, you and I have more or less honed in on, like, personal sexual stuff is kind of taboo. Is there anything else that we can legitimately think of that, as a panel, we wouldn't want to discuss?
Jane.
Well, first of all, back to what Kath was saying and Orlando as well, the whole idea that to my sons would be mortified. You didn't say daughter.
But you've got
Isn't that
daughters.
funny?
They have the internet.
Isn't it funny? Like, sons are so ridiculous when it comes to my mother is not a person.
Is that the only
she
thing
could
we're
not
ridiculous
possibly
about?
be a person.
I mentioned breasts on one of these podcasts and
Great
breastfeeding,
topic.
and he practically didn't talk to me again. These things fed him for 9 months.
By the way, there was some woman that was
They
feeding
just have
his
to keep their
breastfeeding
illusions,
his
don't
4-year-old
they?
son. Did you read about this? This is ridiculous.
A woman was breastfeeding his 4-year-old son?
Her 4-year-old son
her.
walking
I'm
around
sorry.
the city and breastfeeding him.
Isn't that
And which is
weird.
kind of
It is
a
effing
attempt
weird.
to protest to show that it shouldn't be no. The guy's walking around talking on a cell phone with one hand and breastfeeding at the same. He's 4 years freaking old.
So
Stop.
we don't want to talk about gross things. Tell me then why Dr. Pimple Popper, serious question, Dr. Pimple Popper is one of the most popular memes on YouTube.
What's
Jeremy,
his name?
I don't know that anybody
It's a
said
she.
they didn't
It's
want
a
to talk
she.
about gross things.
Pimple
She.
Popper?
It's a she, yeah. Yeah.
Pimple Popper's a
yeah.
great name for a wrong.
I don't
Wait, I thought we
Squeezing of
weren't going to talk
zits.
about that.
The squeezing
Give it up
of
for
zits.
Pimple Popper.
I don't think I have one, by the way. I don't think I have one, by the way.
Jason, have
I
we
mean-
asked you?
You've
No,
not
it's
asked
what-
me.
Well,
I never
but
answered
I-
the question.
Honestly, this one was kind of a tough one because, I mean, in one regard, the nice thing about doing podcasts is this is the perfect example of the freedom of speech. We can do anything we want. However, hearing everything that you guys have brought up to the table, I can say there's one thing that came to mind that I don't understand why this was a huge sensation years ago and why people were coming up to me and saying, have you seen this? And why it was quote-unquote popular for a time. But if I was sitting here with you all and one of you mentioned 2 girls in a cup, I'm going to get up and run.
2 girls and
two
what?
girls and a
2
what?
girls, 1 cup.
Don't go there. Oh my God. Oh yes.
That's it.
That might
I
be
didn't
it.
hear what you said.
That might
Two
be
girls,
it.
Two
one
girls
cup.
and a cup.
That might shut the segment
cup.
down right
Oh,
there.
right.
There it is.
Just
You know
look
what
it
that
up
is, Jeremy?
sometime.
No.
It's
If you don't know what it is,
foulest
don't look it up.
Do not
crap
look it
Don't
up.
look it
ever.
up.
It is 2 women engaged in
Don't
scatological-
even
no,
describe
no,
it,
no.
This
man.
is
no.
Trump
Yeah.
in Moscow you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
We'll go with
Trump in
that.
Yeah.
Moscow.
Yeah.
Golden.
Not
Sure.
even golden.
Yeah, right.
No.
Okay.
Think
When is
more
it? When
chocolatey.
is-
Why did you do
let's
that?
Move on.
I have hot spit. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
God bless it. I forgot about that.
Well,
thing.
Me too.
that's why I
Thank
don't.
you,
That's why
Jason.
I don't understand why it was so popular for a time years ago. Everyone's like, "Oh, have you seen this?" And people would come up to me like, and they'd show me on their phone, like, "Why are you showing me this? What is wrong with you?"
Just the sheer question of that would take hours. Hours. So
That's
sorry.
why if
Jeremy.
we ever had that discussion about that, I would get up and
Kathleen
leave.
and I are going to have to go home and look this up.
No,
Neither of us have-
no, don't.
No, Jeremy, please
But I've
do
thought
not.
of another topic
Don't do
that I
it.
don't actually want to hear again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear anything more about favorite heroes, superheroes.
Oh.
I'm really sick of superheroes.
Oh.
Well,
Just
you
to
can
let
just
you
get
guys
up and leave
know.
the table
You
right
know what?
goddamn
It's
now.
been fun. It's been fun. I'm going to go ahead and leave now.
How dare you?
All right, let's start off with Evo.
Okay, what
Evo,
is this now? I'm worried.
Here's the last question. When is a lie not a lie?
When is what?
When is a lie?
When Trump is hit into
No,
the
no,
rough
no,
and it
sure.
ends up in the fairway.
When is a lie not a lie?
I see. Let me think 1 second. Okay, so, all right, we have this expression noble lie in Bulgaria.
A noble lie.
Noble lie. And let's say sometimes it has to do with medical condition, and like a guy's dying, and he's asking, like he was in a crash.
Oh, okay.
And he's asking, is my wife okay? And his wife's dead. So the doctor knows he's got just minutes to live, and he can say, you know what, she's okay, or I don't know, But that's a way to kind of alleviate pain, impossible
we call that
pain.
a white lie.
A white lie, yeah, noble lie. So there are situations like this probably, and it all depends on circumstance and all kinds of variables. But that's the one thing that popped into my mind.
Okay. Jason,
When is a lie a lie?
When it's not a lie.
is a lie not
It's
a
not.
lie?
It's always a lie. If you knowingly and willingly give misinformation, it's a lie. Now,
What
if
if
you
you have
don't,
talked to yourself?
but if you give misinformation but are not aware that you gave misinformation, then you could say it's a lie, but that wasn't a lie because you didn't knowingly and willingly do it. But if you
What if you've just talked yourself into it because that's what you want to believe and you really don't care?
But again, if I don't know if it's true, if I say something to you and I don't know if this is really true, I just heard this piece of information, I tell you, but that's not true, I didn't willingly know that was untrue. You could argue that's not a lie because I didn't intentionally try and deceive you with falsehood.
Jane, when is a lie not a lie?
I've got nothing.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious.
What
I
about
mean,
all the
like,
kidleys?
Come on, you've told.
Well, you
Have you
said-
had your kid come in and, like, when they were very young, come in and say, "Hey, what is that truck? What does the ice cream truck bell mean?" And you tell him it means that it's out of ice cream. You haven't done that. That's a good lie.
No,
Or
lies
mummy,
are
why are
fun.
you sitting on
Vaccination.
top of daddy? What do you say? Or why is the bedroom
This isn't
door
Daddy.
locked?
What the hell are you doing in here?
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah. No, I don't. Because everybody's basically saying what I was already thinking anyway, so I don't know what else to say about it.
Eric,
Surely
Eric, the
somebody has
producer,
something.
wants to join in. When is a lie not a lie, Eric?
I think a lie is not a lie when you believe it to be truth.
Well, but that's by definition is not a lie then. I mean, the lie is when you know that you're not telling the truth and you're saying it.
No, if you make a statement that is factually incorrect,
But
it is
you
a
have-
lie, but you are not lying.
I think you have to know it's incorrect, and that's the definition.
What if I don't know, though? What if I'm
Well, then
repeating
that's not a
information? What if
Deep,
I'm
Eric.
Just lack of
Deep.
knowledge?
But Evo, you just
Yeah.
excused our president from every
Well, yeah.
misstatement that he's ever made.
He knows. He knows, and they. That's one of the reasons. Actually, there was a radio show by New York Times was involved, explaining why they're not calling him a liar for the longest time, because they couldn't prove that he is aware that it's not a truth. That it's not true. So if they can prove that
Kathleen,
he's aware, that's
when is a lie not a lie? And we would like to be out of here by 12 o'clock tonight.
Okay. Put
What
bluntly,
does that
a lie is
imply?
never not a lie.
Say that again.
A lie is a lie. If you knowingly tell something that's not true, it is a lie, and you can just call it.
Do you
call it that.
do you feel then that if someone says something
I didn't
that-
say it was never justified.
right, but do you think if someone says something that's not true, even though they believe it to be true, is that a lie?
Yes. Because
Right.
it's not true. They've told a truth, an untruth. If you tell me, believing it, that the sky is pink and yellow with green spots on it, that's a lie. It's not true.
I don't think that it's whether or not I believe that the sky is whatever other color it is. It is whether or not I am trying to convince you.
Exactly.
Of that
So you're
fact.
not purposely trying to deceive someone. That's not necessarily a lie.
Can I point out
'Cause
they're the
maybe-
ones
maybe you
arguing
just took
with
too much
you, not
acid
me.
when you were
I'm not
younger. I
arguing
don't
with
know.
you.
Yeah.
But
Well,
isn't that the reason that
the ability to call somebody a liar has always hinged on whether they are doing it on purpose.
Right.
There you go.
It always has.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's probably overly generous. Some people just don't bother to find out.
Yeah.
They believe what they choose to believe and take care not to learn differently. And then they use that as an excuse.
But don't you think that's a different
that's-
dynamic, a different set
That's
of
their own purpose.
Yeah.
But if they
that's their own
believe it,
purpose.
if they say they believe it, you can't call them a liar. But they're lying.
Well, you can. Yes, they are lying and they are liars, but doesn't it go a step beyond that?
When they purposely try not to find out the truth
Yes.
or try to find out that it's, an excuse or something. No, then they're just liars. No.
All right.
Habitual liars do not
but I
believe
think.
they're
Oh, go
lying.
ahead. Sorry.
True.
I think that there's a difference between my 6-year-old saying, "No, I have absolutely no idea how that flower pot got broken. I was nowhere near it," versus saying, "My crowds were the biggest crowds in the history of crowds."
Well, if you're a pathological liar, I mean, if you're a pathological liar, you might not be lying because it's a condition, So it's an interesting conundrum.
It's just, for me, you see, being a Brit, is there are words that seem to send Americans off. Fuck is one of them.
No, that's my
Lie
favorite
is-
word.
Yeah,
lie,
Yeah, that's not
no,
one.
No, really. Lie is another one. To me, to my boys and I and folk in England, the word fuck is just not. It's the same. It is. It's the same as damn or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It simply isn't a big deal. Yet here,
Oh, your mother would never have said it.
She would use the word shag.
I think you might be a little off on decade because right now, if you the one word I can think of that would just send people into a frenzy is cunt.
But not
You
in
don't
England.
say the C
But
word.
not in England.
But not in
you
England.
Do
In
not
England,
use
it's
that
okay.
in no. You
Sorry.
do not use that in England.
Wait a second.
Another good word, another word that is spunk. Here, that guy has got a lot of spunk doing that.
I still use that word that way.
Yeah.
Like, man,
And
she's
if
so
I
spunky.
walk into a bar in England
I still
and
use that
say
word that way.
that word, I find it difficult even now to say it, but I say that, everything will go quiet. And if there's 1,000
That's
people in there,
ridiculous.
What's Dr. Orlando
everything
got to
stops.
say about
Dr. Orlando.
So when I saw the question, when is a lie not a lie? I immediately went to the quote that I've heard attributed to about 1 million people, that all writers are liars and thieves, because I immediately thought of the purpose of being a liar in your writing is to invoke or elucidate or illuminate a higher truth. So to me, as soon as I saw this question, that was immediate. Like, outside of everything else that we're talking about, it is this notion that sometimes it is necessary to tell an untruth in order to magnify or make clearer the truth. So that would be my my sort of general statement of when a lie is not a lie.
Have you been talking to L. Ron Hubbard?
Goddamn right.
Okay.
He talks to me every night.
I was just curious. All right.
Going clear.
Well, folks, thanks again. Very interesting Wednesday evening here, Wednesday Night Undressed. You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Evo.
This week we're sponsored by Polaroid. Apparently, this company has invented a technology that is capable of taking a picture, a camera that is capable of taking a picture, and mere minutes after you take the picture, you just wave it around, and you can look at the picture you've just taken then you can take this picture, put it in an envelope, and send it to one family member. It's absolutely spectacular. You guys need to look
That sounds
into
magical.
it. It's magical. You need to look at it. They're generally sponsoring us today by offering us absolutely nothing.
We want to thank our producers and engineers, Neil Rasmussen, of course, Eric, the producer, and the team. The indefatigable Kathleen Taylor, the resurrected Jason Springer, Just Troy, the Bohemian Sophisticant Jane Carter, the Transylvanian Dark Lord of Literature, Romans, Ivo Ivanov, and of course the Magic Dr. Orlando. I'm Jeremy Taylor. Yay!